Hey everybody, it's Mr. Greg here from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord. I want to say thanks for everybody for joining us tonight while we talk about ABC Bootcamp in the classroom. So before we jump into ABC Bootcamp, I want to give everybody a few minutes to join us. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I am back to school. Today was our second day back, so it was another half day, so we do 2 half days, and then tomorrow will be our first full day of kindergarten. And so I have, as of right now, I have 17 in my class, 17 new mustaches. It's split between boys and girls this year, and so we've had a lot of fun the last 2 days. The kids are fantastic. First day of school, we had a lizard in the classroom, which always makes for a whole lot of fun on the first day of school. So I can't wait for everybody to meet the new mustaches. And as soon as we get all of our video and media releases in, we will introduce you to the new mustaches. I actually took video of the first and second day of kindergarten. And so as soon as we get all the permission slips in, we will share those with you, and you'll get to meet all of the new mustaches. I'm super excited for you to meet them. Their personalities are already starting to come through. We've had a lot of laughs in the classroom. So it's going to be another fantastic year in room 134. So can't wait to share it all with you as we start our new adventure in kindergarten this year. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into ABC Bootcamp. And so I'm gonna be walking you through ABC Bootcamp in the classroom. So we get lots of questions about how I do ABC Bootcamp in the classroom. And so that's kind of what we're gonna do tonight, is we're gonna walk you through kind of the order that I do it in, and I'm gonna kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to implement ABC Bootcamp in the classroom. So ABC Bootcamp is, of course, a part of our TKS Bootcamp curriculum, which is a year-long math and literacy curriculum that we created. After the success of ABC Bootcamp, we wanted to extend that learning and that success throughout the year, and that's how TKS Bootcamp was born. And so you can see here on the screen all of the components of the TKS Bootcamp curriculum, so the literacy components and, of course, the math components as well. So I want to kind of show you, because we get lots of questions about why ABC Bootcamp. And so the reason ABC Bootcamp came about was because one year we decided to try something new. We veered away from what our curriculum was doing with letter a week. We decided to do letter a day for 26 days, a letter a day for the first 26 days of school. We thought, let's see how it goes. Let's see what the data looks like. Let's see if the kids have access to the letters and sounds in the first 26 days of school. Let's see what that does to their reading. And that very first year of ABC Bootcamp, we were blown away by the results. And so year after year, we've seen the same results in my classroom. And we also started getting a lot of other teachers telling us kind of the same data, the same results. And so we did a blind case study of 216 classrooms, average of about 19 students across all demographics. So the pre-bootcamp data shows the kids knew on average 5 uppercase letters, 5 lowercase letters, and 3 sounds. At the end of ABC Bootcamp, at the end of 26 days of ABC Bootcamp, this was the data. So 16 uppercase letters, 15 lowercase letters, and 15 sounds. That's about an 80% increase in your letters and sounds recognition at just the end of 26 days of ABC Bootcamp. That's why we do ABC Bootcamp, because it works. We've seen it work in classrooms all over the country, and we see the same results year after year. And so this is my classroom data from last year. And so you can see these little graphs from ESGI, and you can see how much the growth is happening in those first 26 days. 95% of my students are ELL. Most of them come in speaking little to no English. And at the end of ABC Bootcamp, we had 95% mastery of all of our letters and sounds. And then by December, we had 100% mastery. And so that's why ABC Bootcamp is being used in classrooms all over the country, because it works, because teachers are seeing amazing growth in just 26 days of instruction. And then what we're seeing beyond that is reading scores going up, sight words going up, because the kids have access to the letters and sounds so early. That's really improving their ability to read and write as well. ABC Bootcamp not only is a teacher created and classroom proven, but it's also research based, and it's based on the law of 10 to 20 for memory sets, which basically says the optimal review time is 10 to 20% of the time that you want your students to remember the items in a set. So we're looking at school is on average 180 days. 10 to 20% of 180 equals 18 to 37 days. What number falls in the middle of that? 26 days. So you think 26 days is the optimal time for our kids to learn their letters and sounds. So the research tells us that ABC Bootcamp letter a day is the optimal way for our kids to learn their letters and sounds. So ABC Bootcamp is really built on that idea of one letter and sound a day for 26 days. And so it's not a letter every 2 days, a letter a week. It's one letter for 26 days. And the first 26 days of school, the kids are introduced, and you saw that mastery of the letters and sounds. So I get a lot of questions about what happens after boot camp. What about the kids who don't master all the letters and sounds? Do you just go on? Do you leave them behind? What happens? One thing that we do after ABC Boot Camp is we do a very short daily review of all the letters and sounds. And we use this alphabet chart, which is available on our website. And we just say the letter, the sound, and the picture. So we would say A, apple, A. B, bounce, B. C, cut, K. So the kids are getting a daily review of the letters and sounds. And then within ABC Bootcamp, there's some small group intervention pieces that we'll show you as well. So that's what we do at the end of ABC Bootcamp, and then we do that every day for the rest of the school year. And so that really helps the kids retain the letters and sounds, and it gives the kids who need a little bit more help, it gives them some daily practice with the letters and sounds. So here's what ABC Bootcamp looks like in my classroom. And so we're going to kind of walk you through each of these pieces, but this kind of gives you the broad picture. So it actually starts with the morning message, first thing in the morning with letter writing. Then we move to the circle maps. We're going to have the handwriting, the hats, and then we'll show you the small group work that you can do, and then it also includes some centers. So that's kind of the flow of the way it works in my classroom, because I get a lot of questions about this. And of course, it varies a little bit every year depending on our schedule. And so, but you're going to kind of see, this is kind of the order that it will go in, no matter what the schedule is. It just may be broken up a little bit depending on how our schedule flows. So morning message, then circle maps, then we do handwriting, make our hats, and then of course the small groups and centers. So the first thing that we do during ABC Bootcamp is we actually introduce the letter in the morning message. And so what I do is we read our morning message, and then I model on our morning message how to write the uppercase and lowercase letter. And then each of the kids come up and they practice writing the uppercase and lowercase letter. So first thing we're seeing the letter, we're hearing the name of the letter, and we're practicing writing the letter. Very first thing in the morning, you're getting some valuable information about their handwriting. You're giving, some of them are already naming the letter, and so it helps the kids to write the uppercase and lowercase letter. Gives them some great practice using markers and some great fine motor practice as well. So here's how it works, and this is going to lead into the next part of boot camp, which are the circle maps. And so with ABC Bootcamp and the circle charts, what we're doing is we're helping the kids to learn the letters and sounds in context. So we're not just teaching them the sounds and the letters as an isolated skill, we're actually teaching them in the context of words and in context of print. And so what we're going to do is we're going to attach that sound to the letters so that the students know that the sounds are represented by the letters. And what happens is we see that really help them transition those letters and sounds into their writing. So the way we do it is when we do the circle chart, we actually introduce the sound first. And again, this is really what helps the writing. So we introduce the sound. So let's say we're doing the letter A. And so I would say, today we're going to learn the sound A. What sound? A. What sound? A. So we're going to get lots of repetition, getting the kids to repeat that sound back to you. You can do it whole group, you can go around the circle, you can call them volunteers, but getting them to repeat that sound over and over again so they get that in their brain and it sticks. Then what we do is, so we'll say, what sound? A. Then we will ask, how do we spell A? And that's when you bring in the letter name. So we're going to say, what sound? A. How do we spell A? And they're going to say A. So that's what we do. So we don't say A says A, or what sound does A make? We introduce the sound first, Then the letter name is how we spell the sound. And again, we're going to repeat, what sound? Ah. What letter? A. What sound? Ah. So the circle maps or the circle charts are really kind of the heart of ABC Bootcamp. This is where the magic really happens with ABC Bootcamp. And so here's the circle, one of our circle charts. So the sound is in the middle. So I would say, all right, today for ABC Bootcamp, we're going to learn the sound. What sound? What sound? How do we spell? And the kids will say H. Good. What letter? H. What sound? What sound? How do we spell? And they would say H. I would say, okay, who can give me a word that says, or who can give me a word that starts with, and so let's say somebody says happy. I'll say happy. What word? Happy. What word? Happy. What sound? And then the kids will say, good. What sound? All right, so now here comes the fun part. So the kids come up with the word. We're going to identify the beginning sound. Again, what sound? What sound? How do we spell? So we're going to draw the picture. Yes, you have to draw the pictures. We get a lot of comments and a lot of questions and emails about this. And people are like, well, can't I just print pictures or use pictures on my smartboard? You can, but you're really losing a big part of that learning. Because when you are drawing the pictures that your kids come up with, you're really engaging them, you're making it personal, you're really giving them buy-in to that circle map, and it's a whole lot of fun because you get to be silly and goofy. Y'all look, I am clearly not an artist. My kids don't care. They think it's hilarious. This is what I draw. We have a lot of fun with my drawings. So yes, you have to draw the pictures. Don't skip drawing the pictures because you think you're not a good artist. Trust me, your kids are going to think you're an amazing artist. So, somebody says happy. And so I said happy. What sound? Does happy go on our circle map? Yes. So I'm going to draw happy, and I'm going to say what word? Happy. What sound? How do we spell? And the kids are going to say H. Then I'm going to write the H. Then I'm going to spell the rest of the word for the kids. A-P-P-Y. What word? Happy. What sound? So that's how we add the words to the circle map. So the idea of spelling the letters for them, you're just building that letter recognition, building some of that working with words and letters to build words. And so that's how the circle maps work. I do want to point out one thing. The kids love when they get to be on the circle map. So if you have kids whose names are going to start with that sound for the day, make sure to include them. They love it when you draw them and write their name. I make a big deal of it. So when they said Hassan, I get down there and I look at him and I concentrate and Hassan has really get into it and make it a lot of fun. The more fun we have with the circle map and the pictures, the more fun the kids are going to have and the more they're going to pull from the circle map. So here are a couple more examples of our circle maps, and so you can see sometimes we get a few words, sometimes we get a whole lot of words. And again, you can see, we're going to say apple. What sound? A. How do we spell A? A-P-P-L-E. Apple. What word? Apple. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the circle maps. Oh, when we're done at the end of the circle map for each day, we go back through and we read all of the words quickly. Just again, building some fluency, building some vocabulary, and then just again reinforcing that sound. So I want to point something out on the M because I know it's easier to see. So M is about halfway through boot camp, and what we start doing, and I don't know if you can see them, but they're these little numbers by the words. Those are syllables. So when we get to about the halfway point, depending on how we're doing with the sounds and the letters, the kids will start to count the syllables. And so okay, we'll be done with monkey and we'll say okay, monkey, monkey. Oh, 2 syllables. So we write 2 on there. So we're also starting to pull in some other skills as well. Then after the circle map, after we've really focused on that sound in the letter, we'll do some handwriting. And in ABC Bootcamp, we included 2 different handwriting versions. We have manuscript and Danielian handwriting included. And so what we're going to do is, with handwriting, it helps students recognize the differences in the letters, builds letter recognition, can build some sound fluency. So the way it works in the classroom, you saw the morning message where they write, and that's without any real explicit instruction other than me writing it on there. When we get to the handwriting, we will actually do some explicit modeling of how to form the letters and correctly write the letters. And then the kids will do their independent practice. And so you can see they're gonna trace and then write. Trace and then write. So that both uppercase and lowercase. So I've, on the smartboard or on the document camera, I've explicitly modeled how to practice or how to form the letters, and then the kids will go off and do it on their own. And then of course I'm going around monitoring their handwriting, helping if they need it. That's how we bring in the handwriting. And I do want to throw out one more little thing about handwriting that I found to be useful in my classroom, especially if we're struggling with letter formation, is to use chalkboards. And so the chalk on the chalkboard creates friction, which will help their muscle memory, helps with letter formation. So if we're struggling with a particular letter, we'll pull out our little chalkboards and practice on the chalkboards to build some of that muscle memory. Then one of my favorite parts of ABC Bootcamp, and this is something that we've been doing for years in our classroom, and it's kind of become a signature of my class, are the silly hats. And so the reason we do the silly hats is, number one, they're a whole lot of fun. And that's really, I'm all about having fun in the classroom. I'm a big believer in the fact that the more fun the kids have, the more they learn. So that's really one reason we do them. But it also provides reinforcement of the sound and the letter. It provides a whole lot of cutting and fine motor practice as well. It makes a great home-school connection because the kids wear their hats home and they can talk to their families about the hat, what it is, what sound it makes. Really increases the engagement. The kids love the hats, and they get really sad at the end of the 26 days when we run out of hats to make. So what we did with ABC Bootcamp and the silly hats was we had Jen Hart Design create the hats, and we created the hats to be differentiated. So in ABC Bootcamp, you're going to get 2 hats for every letter, so a total of 52 hats. And the way it works is that there is a hat that requires assembly and a hat that doesn't require any assembly. And so, for example, the apple has a little bit of assembly because you have to cut out the leaf and glue the leaf on. The other option for A is an ambulance, and all the kids have to do is color the ambulance, cut it out, and glue it on a sentence strip. And so we get a lot of questions about the cutting and the sentence strips. So, yes, the first week or two of ABC Bootcamp, doing the silly hats can be a little bit of a challenge because we're new, we don't have great fine motor skills maybe, we're not good at cutting, we've never held scissors. That's why you do the hats every day, because every day you see that cutting get better and better. And so don't let that scare you. Yes, the first week it takes a while to do the hats, but that's okay because it's the first week of school and we're focusing on, cutting and fine motor. And the whole time we're working on our hats, we're talking about the sound, we're talking about the letter. So we're constantly reinforcing the letter and sound. So the first week or two, the way it works is it's done whole group in the classroom. And so, I model on the document camera, I color my hat, then I let the kids color their hat. When everybody's done coloring, we cut it out. I model how to cut it out, then the kids cut it out. Then we model how to use the glue sponge and how to glue it on our sentence strip. And so I literally model every step and then let them do it. And so it's a very explicit process for that first 2 weeks of the hats. After about 2 weeks, the kids are getting much better at it. What I'll do is I'll make my hat and set it as a model, and then the kids can work on the hats independently after a couple of weeks because they're used to the process, they're used to cutting and gluing. And so that's how we do the hats. The next question we get a lot of are the sentence strips, and so you can go to the next slide so you can see more of the hats. So the sentence strips, so there's several things you can do. Classroom Direct is the best value that I've found for the sentence strips. You can cut the sentence strips in half so they're skinny, so you can double the amount of sentence strips you get in a package. Also, no teachers use construction paper, which also works very well. And so the stapling can take a little bit of time, but what starts to happen as the kids are finishing their hats, I just have them come up to me. It takes me about a second to fit that sentence strip to their head and staple it. Then what happens at about 2.5 weeks or so, the kids will come up to you with the sentence strip already on and measured. All you have to do is staple it. And so that part becomes a whole lot faster too. So don't because I know a lot of people are intimidated by the hats because of the cutting and the stapling. Don't let that stop you from doing the hats, because they're such a vital part of the ABC Bootcamp experience. Just know that after a couple of weeks, the hats really, really get a lot faster and a lot easier. And so you can see Q for question. One of my favorites is the disco ball. And of course, we add glitter to our disco ball. Another one of my favorites, of course, is the Jeep for J. And every year the kids color the Jeep to match my Jeep. And so I actually pull my Jeep up to our classroom window so they can all look out and see it. And so, again, you can use the hats to make those connections and build a lot of those connections and really reinforce the letters and sounds. So then we have some small group activities included in ABC Bootcamp, and this is where you're going to pull in and really give the kids the targeted instruction, the kids who need a little bit more help, a little bit more practice. And so we have our student ABC books, and these are included in ABC Bootcamp. So they're really just the student circle maps that you can use. And so the way I do them is I pull the kids into the small group who need to work on that, and we'll work on the letter and the sound. We'll identify, we might even do a quick little picture sort of words that start with a sound and words that don't start with a sound. And then the kids are going to create their own circle map. And so they can actually use the class circle chart that we made, or sometimes we even try to come up with some different words for the circle map. And so it's going to be that same idea of writing and drawing the pictures, they're writing the words. And so that's really that targeted, intense focus. This also works if you're not using it in small groups, you can do it in whole group, but it really works well in small groups. It also works as an intervention piece for RTI. And then of course we have centers included. So these are differentiated centers for letters and sounds. They're easy prep. They're all black line to save ink. They all come with recording sheets so the kids can record their learning as well. And that keeps that ABC Bootcamp going into your Literacy Center time. And then at the end of 26 days, it's time to celebrate, because ABC Bootcamp is really designed to be an immersive, intense experience. And so that 26 days, we are immersed in letters and sounds, and that's all we're really focused on for 26 days. And so at the end of 26 days, the fact that we've mastered our letters and sounds is huge and deserves a celebration. And so that's where the ABC Bootcamp fashion show comes in. And so the way it works is, as we're getting close to the end of ABC Bootcamp, every kid takes home a vest made out of a paper grocery bag. We go to the local grocery store and ask, and they usually donate bags for us. So we glue on our letters, and they're just randomly assigned. So we make the vest, and when I send the vest home, I just hand them out to the kids. And so there's no rhyme or reason to the letters. If you don't have enough kids in your class, just pull out some of the harder letters that would be hard to find pictures. You know, we've done it two ways. We've done a class fashion show and we've done a grade level fashion show. They all work well. We've seen schools that make it a big parent night and they go full on. We've seen runways and lights and props. So the ABC fashion show, it's a great way to make a home connection at the very beginning of the year. It's an easy way to get the families involved. And if you wanted to make it a family event at school, it's an easy way to get the parents in. The kids love to get up and walk the runway. And so they make their vests, and then they bring them back to school, and then we actually have a fashion show where the kids get to walk the runway and model their vest. And so here's what it looks like. So we put down the red carpet for the runway. We play Vogue by Madonna, because if you're going to walk the runway, you have to Vogue. And then the kids get to walk the runway and model their vests. And so there they are with all their vests. And it's so much fun. The kids love it. You get to see them really come out. Every year, the shyest kid is the one who gets up there and works the runway like nobody else. And I always include this picture every time I talk about the fashion show, because it illustrates that connection you're making with home and the way that the families get involved and have a great time with the fashion show. So this is Nicholas, and one of the first days of kindergarten, Nicholas's mom took this picture of him. He got in the back seat, crawled in his car seat after kindergarten, and was out and started snoring. And so mom just happened to snap the picture that day. Randomly, Nicholas got assigned the letter Z vest, and so they made his Z, and they included the picture of him sleeping, and Mom wrote a bunch of Z's on the bag for him snoring. And so I think that just really shows and highlights that connection that the families make to the fashion show and the way you're able to build those relationships and build those bridges at the beginning of the year. So ABC Bootcamp is available, again, as part of the TKS Bootcamp curriculum bundle, or of course you can purchase ABC Bootcamp separately. It's available in 4 themes. The themes are exactly the same. The content is exactly the same. It's just the themes that are different. So we've got the original Army theme, the monster theme, the safari theme, and the superhero theme. And so you're going to get the circle map labels. You're going to get the 2 handwritings. You're going to get the silly hats. You're going to get the student journals. You're going to get letter art ideas. You're going to get a letter search. You're going to get the centers. And so you're going to get a scope and sequence. The directions are there. The links to videos and blog posts are there. So everything you need for ABC Bootcamp is included in the ABC Bootcamp purchase. And so
plus our newest edition.
Right. And now we have included decodable readers. And so again, we're bringing that idea of the letters and sounds in print and in context. And so now included in ABC Bootcamp, you're going to get differentiated decodable readers. And so you're going to get 2 decodable readers for every letter. And so one is a 1-word reader, so apple, ant, ambulance. The other reader is a simple sentence. A is for ambulance, A is for apple, and those will come in color and black line as well. And so the decodable readers, again, really serve that small group. And so you really use those decodable readers to target the small groups. You can send the decodable readers home so the kids can take them home and practice. And so it really is an all-inclusive curriculum for teaching letters and sounds and gives you everything you need. The assessments are done with ESGI, and so you can use our code SMORGY and sign up at esgisoftware.com and get all of our bootcamp assessments are available on ESGI. And so again, you can sign up with that code SMORGY and get your 60-day free trial, and that will save you $40 off of the price as well. And so ABC Bootcamp is available on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's also available on the Kindergarten Smorgasbord online store at tksstore.com.
So a few questions that we have really quick.
All right.
This one is from Heather. She said, if we already have the packet, is there an update so that we can get the readers?
Yes, so if you already have the ABC Bootcamp, if you already purchased, just download the file again and the decodable readers will be there.
Do you know of any research on teaching an ABC order versus another order, such as the order that Wonders uses, which is Alicia's core curriculum?
So we get this question a lot, and there's research on both sides. The way we created ABC Bootcamp, it's designed to be 100% flexible and 100% adaptable. So you can do it in ABC order, or you can follow the order of your curriculum or your district scope and sequence or what your school wants. And what we've seen, the data that you saw, that's from people doing it in ABC order and people following the order of their scope and sequence. And so it's completely flexible. It's designed to be its own curriculum, and it's also designed to work with any curriculum that you're already using. And so you can do ABC order, or you can do the order that you need to follow.
For the vests, do you do them? Do you do the vests at home the same day as you do the letter, or do you wait until all the letters are introduced when you're getting ready to do the fashion show?
So the fashion show happens at the end of ABC Bootcamp, and so we send the vests home at the end after most of the letters are introduced. And a tip that we found really helpful is send the vest home, give them about a week to work on it over the week. So include a weekend in there. Then have the vest due back at school like 2 days before the fashion show. And what that does, that allows us to help the kids who maybe didn't get it done at home or couldn't find any pictures. And so we have that little bit of a window where we can help them finish their vest.
So about how long does it take to complete all the activities of ABC Bootcamp?
So what you saw, excluding that morning message part, what you saw, the circle map, the hats, the handwriting, in the classroom, you're gonna look at about 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 45, depending on how long you spend on the circle map, how long it takes to do the hats. So you're looking at about a 40-minute process. And again, does that mean you have to sit your kids there and do it all in that 40 and straight through in 40 minutes? Of course not. Sometimes the way our schedule is broken up, we'll do the circle maps and the handwriting, and then we come back and do the hats. But you're looking at about a 40-minute time investment with doing all the pieces.
I think we have some people that might have missed some of the beginning, and so they're a little confused about the circle maps. There's a circle map that's done whole group, and then there's the circle maps that are done small group or done independently. So could you just kind of cover that super duper quick, like what's done whole group and what's done small group?
Yeah, so whole group
If you need me to go back to it, I can.
Yeah, go back.
So here's the whole group.
So whole group is, you're going to do the circle charts. So these are done whole group. Everybody's participating. They're very interactive and engaging. So that's whole group. Handwriting is modeled whole group. Explicit instruction is done whole group. Then the kids practice it independently. The hats are done whole group. Later, about 2 weeks in, you can release a lot of the hats to the kids. But initially, the hats are done whole group as well. And then the student circle maps are really designed to be done in small groups. They can be done independently, like if you wanted to use it as an independent work, but really they're designed to be done in whole group, in small groups. So the kids circle maps, the student books are designed to be done in small groups. And then of course the centers will work as a small group activity if you wanted to do it as a game in a small group, but then of course they're designed to be done in centers.
How do you introduce syllables?
So the way I introduce the syllables, again, it's about halfway through ABC Bootcamp. I just tell the kids, today we're going to start learning syllables, and syllables are kind of where the words break apart, and we're going to learn how to count those because that's going to help us read the words. It's going to make us better readers and writers. And so I know a lot of people clap the syllables, but what I've found over the years is that the clapping is confusing. And so we count the syllables on our arms. And so it's 1 on my finger, 2 is on my wrist, 3 is at my elbow, 4 is my shoulder. And if we need 5, we touch our nose. So we would say monkey, and we would know that's 2. And we found that's been much more effective to helping the kids determine the syllables more than clapping.
I think that's all.
All right.
I've been answering them as we go.
All right, so again, ABC Bootcamp was a curriculum created by Mr. Greg to use in the classroom because I wanted to get away from the letter a week. We did it that first year and we saw tremendous results, not only in the mastery of letters and sounds, but a huge gain in the kids' reading ability. And so that's how ABC Bootcamp was born. It was born out of a desire to more effectively teach the kids. And so that's where ABC Bootcamp came from. It's a research-based, classroom-proven method or approach, a curriculum to teaching letters and sounds in the first 26 days of school. And again, it's all-inclusive and now includes the decodable readers, which you can pull into your small groups as well. And so you can check out ABC Bootcamp, available in 4 themes. The content is the same, just the themes are different. And you can check that out at the tksstore.com. All right, thank you, everybody.